Welcome to the Find Your Flow podcast.
Welcome back to Find Your Flow, everybody. I have Dr. Liz Dubois in here with me today. We're going to call her Dr. Liz from here on out. And listeners, she has already got me laughing to the point where I'm crying. So, good luck with this episode.
Luck.
Dr. Liz, welcome. Welcome.
You.
I ask one question to kick us off, and then I'd love to see where this goes. I think that we're going to have a really wonderful, open, frank, real conversation. So I'm very excited about this.
Me too.
My one and only question, my new friend, is what does find your flow mean to you?
I think it's like letting go of anything that's clogging you, right? Like the opposite of flow is clogged, or stagnant. And so for me, I think it's just kind of like letting go of anything that's clogging you up, whether that's physical, mental, spiritual, financial. I've been doing my work as a coach now since 2017 in different capacities. I started in trauma coaching and then went into divorce coaching, and now really exclusively focus on business coaching with a couple of folks that have been with me walking through divorce for a really long time. But in general, finding my flow has meant being courageous enough to say, hey, I'm going to shift my focus. Because I don't think that that's welcomed very much in, at least like historically, the way things work in business, in jobs, professionalism in America, at least. I can't speak to other settings. Has been like you find your job and you find your industry, and that's where you stay. And that's like, you get a golden watch on your day of retirement. My dad worked in human resources at General Electric for a very long time, most of the time that I was growing up. And I remember going to a retirement ceremony at his plant, at the physical plant. I don't know if it was an electrical. I don't know what kind of plant it was, because I was probably 8 or 9. And I remember this guy getting like a watch and people being like, oh, wow, he worked here for 50 years. And that a watch. I mean, and a pension, and also a G took care of their people at that time. And I didn't have any response to it. I was like 8 or 9, but it's to this day, I'll be 42 next week. Like to this day, it's still in my head that's a staple of what working in America meant for forever, right? And probably since the Industrial Revolution, and even before that, right? Like you think about your last name, right? Miller, Smith, whatever, right? Like we got our last names in large part from our professions. And so for me, as someone that coaches people about their professions, as someone that has evolved professionally several times, I think that there's a real zeitgeist of moving and changing and flowing professionally means that you're doing something wrong, right? You're being flaky, you're changing to it, whatever, right?
Yeah.
I remember being at a family funeral in Cleveland. A lot of my family's from Cleveland, Ohio. And I remember I had just started my first company. I was 24 years old. Just started my first company. My business cards had Rosie the River on it, right? Like we can do it. And I was so excited about my business cards and about my company and all this. And I handed my cousins one of my business cards. And she was a nurse. Her mother was a nurse. Her daughter was a nurse. And she said, you change jobs constantly, right? Because she saw it as this, I change job thing, not like I'm finding my flow. Hiding over there is my doctorate degree from when I worked at Disney in the college program, and then went into marketing. And then from there went to iHeartRadio, and from there started my own company doing marketing consulting, and and so on and so on. Went and got a master's and then a PhD, and then started working in organizational development for myself as a consultant and then a coach. And there's just been this flow to it that in my mind, there's a really strong narrative here of what my career is, but to the eyes of folks, especially, in the Rust Belt industrial areas where I came from, where I grew up, that that there's something wrong with that, right? That means you haven't
Yeah.
figured out who you are or what you want to be when you grow up. I think the really sad part about that, not that life is about money, right? But I think the sad part about that is that narrative has really served large companies very well in terms of being able to
Absolutely.
retain talent and retain that talent for a relatively small price tag. To work with me, it's a lot different of a price tag than to have someone in like you've been here for 4 years and we're going to give you a raise and now you're at $18 an hour and
Yes.
all that.
Yes.
I think this kind of like zeitgeist of consistency means staying the same. And by the way, staying the same means that you stay pretty broke, you stay pretty in debt. You can maybe buy a house, but it's going to be a struggle, right? And we're going to impose a narrative about what it means to not buy a house by a certain age, right?
That's
And
right.
all of these stories are clogs, right? They're clogs that prevent you from flowing into whatever it is that you want to do next. But when we allow ourselves to really be defined by that or be defined within the constraints of that, that's where you get that kind of clogging of I'm not going to allow myself to flow.
That is such a wonderful segue into this throat chakra, throat speaking, this whole area of the body that seems to get shut down, locked down from a very, very early age. And I mean, anybody who knows anything about the chakra system knows that the throat is where you
Not me.
can communicate.
Not me.
Oh, so it's the chakra of communication. Not so much self-identity, but communicating who you are. It's also where we house our willpower. So which can either be used to, fuck it, I'm going to express who I am, come hell or high water, or fuck it, I'm going to hold back, come hell or high water. And there's really no in between in this chakra. It's two extremes. And that is very much regulated by how we grow up, societal norms around us. And then it's really up to the individual to learn how to unclog it, to open it, allow things to flow, and then run it through your heart, run it through your third eye, run it through this understanding of who you are so that you present yourself as you truly are, as an authentic expression of yourself. And your whole career, I love it when people, I absolutely love it when I hear that people, and I'm air quoting for those of you who are just listening and not watching, but air quoting this whole bounce around from job to job, because what looks like to someone who doesn't have that trajectory, it looks like discombobulated, completely unorganized, right? When for me, I look at that like, oh, look at all of the things she's learned. Look at the different ways she's grown, because clearly you've learned to express that part of you and that part of you and that part of you and that part of you. And then all of that comes together to create this beautiful picture that's you. Like all of these little pieces come together for one big picture. The brand of Dr. Liz. I absolutely love that. So tell me what is your job now? What is it that you're focusing on the most? I read in your bio, and I wrote this down, conflict resolution. I love that. Helping women find their voice, which is such a beautiful, and then help people ditch that people pleasing and overthinking so that you can become the best version of you. And then your business then becomes a reflection of the best version of you. So can you take us through? I'm just going to sit here and listen and learn now. Can you take us through? Like, I'll ask questions.
Okay, good.
What you do and who you work with. How does all of this go down? If I come to you, what's like the number one thing that I would be concerned about?
Gosh, there's so many ways to answer that question. So, okay, fundamentally, the thing that if I had to wake up every single day and talk about for the rest of my life without the option to talk about anything else, it would be marketing and power and control. And I'm just obsessed. My 11-year-old came to his first marketing meeting with me when he was 10 days old because I didn't have childcare. It wasn't something me and his dad could afford at the time. And so I had him in his little, like, put the baby in the slingy thing.
That's
and then,
right.
You know, I had like a 10-day maternity leave, which was nuts. But I brought him along, and that just didn't stop. Right. Even now he's like in grade school. He just started medical school, with blows my mind that he's in middle school. Like he comes to marketing stuff with me because he has really good ideas, and my clients know, like, oh, hey, this is a Liam idea, right? Like he's got this kind of, like, he's not super worried about what other people think about him in terms of like his ideas being good or bad, because he's 11 and who the hell cares. And so he's got this just like creative raw power. And I've been teaching him about marketing since he was very, very young. You know, I've talked about like rhetoric, and this is how political control works. I studied in Moscow when I was in grad school for my PhD. Like, we've had like really in-depth talks about how marketing, you know, Jesus was the world's best marketer, right? Like, we've talked about.
Oh, that concept got me into a lot of trouble at the Catholic University of America.
Really? Oh, because I think.
Oh, yes, it did. I raised my hand. It's funny. This is the class, the religion class where I met my husband, actually.
Ooh,
I raised my hand and I said, I just have a question. And the teacher is a nun, like full habit, the whole 9 yards, right? And I raised my hand and I said, I just have a question. And it's not necessarily something I believe. It's just something I'm questioning. What if Jesus was just a great speaker? What if he was this
that's not what
really super engaging, like really knew how to excite a crowd and had something really awesome to say? What if that's who Jesus was? And I was met with shock, silence, and please stay after class. And I was like,
I love that.
Okay.
I love that.
It's just thinking out loud.
It's so funny because I didn't mean it in that sense, in the just. Though I use Jesus as a prototype in a lot of my coaching and a lot of my teaching, because I think that he, for a lot of different reasons, like I care about who he was and his narrative and all of that. I'm not here to push any agenda. What I meant by that is, like, fundamentally, good marketing comes down to, do you buy into what you're trying to sell? Right?
Yeah.
So like people who are like, you know, like, this is Thrasher's French fries from the beach, my very favorite water bottle, right? Like, if the kid working there thinks that this is absolute dog shit, that is going to come across in his demeanor, right? Like, if he's spinning the big signs, it's like beach French fries, Thrasher's doesn't need that. They're big enough, right? But if he fundamentally doesn't believe in what he's selling, that's going to come across in his marketing. It's going to be really soggy. I see this a lot with people. I should say I work with about equal proportion men to women at this point. I found that working with men really fits my kind of like grittier, like toothier sort of, you know, just demeanor. Like, I'm a masculine type of person. I'm like very direct. What I meant by that is, like, Jesus really believed what he was talking about, right? He really got it. And so he wasn't just like spinning a narrative in the service of like,
hey, I think I'm the son of God.
Right. Yeah. I mean, right. He wasn't, that wasn't even like the overarching message, right? Other people were saying, well, this is that other people were becoming brand evangelists for him, right?
Yes.
Literally.
Yes.
And so it was really about, like, for me, good marketing comes down to two different things. One, confidence, right? And then two, clarity. Confidence in that you know what you're talking about. Confidence that even if your, you know, high school friends see it on Facebook and they're like, oh my God, what is she knowing? Like, it's gonna be worth that, right? Like, whatever it is. And then the clarity, what am I actually selling, right? And Jesus was very, very clear that he was not selling himself as the Son of God. He was selling the idea that you didn't have to be a hot mess.
An asshole. Don't be an asshole.
Don't be an asshole. And you don't have
The
to, you
message
don't
is
have
so
to be
simple.
scared, right? You don't have to be scared
Right.
even though the world says so. And so when I'm teaching marketing, what I say is like, you're not selling yourself, right? I'm the son of God. I'm not, right? Like, you're not selling yourself, right? And you're not even selling the concept of something like, and you'll get to go to heaven. You're saying you don't have to be anxious and worried all the time, right? And so if you're selling a product, God, if you're selling this 4-piece grill set that my partner has left in my office, right? It's right. Like this is the walkthrough to get to the backyard too, right? Not throwing shade on him, right? Like if you are selling this and you actually think it's an overpriced piece of crap made of Chinesium, that's going to come across in your marketing, right? It's going to come across in your messaging. It's going to be lackluster. You're going to be like, this is the best set ever, right? But if you genuinely believe this is solving problems, saying, I've bought my dad grill sets for 42 years for Father's Day, and every single one falls apart. And that's why I have to buy another one next year. But I created this grill set because I want my dad to have a long enjoyment and like look back on that Father's Day that I got him this. And every time he flicks a hamburger, he's thinking about that moment, right? You're not selling the grill set, you're selling the family memory, right?
Yeah.
Disney does the same thing, right? Disney's the master of this. They took a rodent. They took a rodent
and sell the experience. That's right.
Right, exactly. So if I were to say, right, I worked on property for a while. If I were to say to you, like, hey, do you want to spend about $1,400 a day to bring your family to a place where you have to walk around in a big parking lot that has fiberglass animals in it and have children scream and sometimes vomit on you and wait in line to be able to buy a shitty ass pretzel? Right, for
That's
hours.
right.
By the way, you're probably going to get sunburned. Right? Like under no circumstances would you go to Disney World.
Yes, please sign me up. Right.
Yeah,
Like that's lunacy. That's lunacy.
Right. But they have been so successful, right? They have theme parks around the world. They own everything now. They own everything.
They do.
Because they've tapped into, they sell family magic and family memories, right? Like, oh, grandma brought me here every year and I'm going to spread her ashes in Bay Lake. People do that, right?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
And it's not because the Disney World marketed well to them. It's that Disney World understood.
It's the nostalgia.
I think it's the nostalgia, but it's also understanding fundamentally what people want us to be in community with one another. And if you can build a space where people feel deeply connected through a concept, right, of being bigger than themselves, dreams, family togetherness, like your product sells itself, right? Because it's not just about the nostalgia. It's about like, I fundamentally remember being in the ferry at Bay Lake when I was 8 years old, saying to my mom, I'm going to work here when I grow up, right? And so when I had the opportunity to do so, there was never a moment in my mind where I was like, is this a good idea? Is this a bad idea? Like,
right.
That's what I'm doing.
Wow. All right. So marketing, which I love because, so I'm on this little bit of a kick. I really firmly believe that experts in this realm of holistic health are on a trajectory of seriously owning who they are and not giving a shit about the people online who are like, that's not who you were growing up. I love that you brought that up, that you're going to speak out and you're going to be who you're going to be, regardless of the girl from high school who is like, oh, I don't know who you think you are. But I think in every aspect of our life, we have that. Starting with, it could be our families who take a look at us as we're changing and evolving and go, oh, well, that's not who I raised. And that's not who sat at my dinner table for decades. Right. And then we've got friends at every level of our lives who may no longer resonate with who we are. And we've got colleagues that you outgrow and you move on. You've got jobs where you outgrow and you move on. And I really think that right now we have a lot of people who have skill sets and expertise who have been sort of hiding out for lack of better words, but seriously, like in the underground of, this is too taboo. I can't really talk about what I do. And it could be something innocuous like Reiki. Who gives a shit, right? It's But because it's been considered taboo, there's sort of shut down about speaking about it, shut down about being able to own it authentically and feeling confident in that skill set that they've worked really hard to acquire and to hone. So we've got all of these, and the majority, I think the majority of this population is women. So I'm on this little bit of a kick of helping business entrepreneurs, these soul aligned entrepreneurs, figure out who they are, how to step up, how to step out into the limelight here and really own who they are, find that confidence, find their voice. And I think that people are really challenged by that. I know I was. I mean, shit, look at me 7 years ago, 10 years ago. I was like, I had a great, highly successful private studio. I had no sign. I did no marketing. It was really super successful in spite of my being able to step out and claim it and being able to speak about it, authentically speak about it, even though I firmly believed in what I was doing. Right? If you asked me to describe it, 10 years ago, I was like stumbling over my words. Now I'm like, I don't care. But we have a lot of people who are coming out of their shells now, trying to find their voices. How can they? What can they do? What is like that first step little nugget that they can put into practice right now? Because I know that the majority of them are like, I don't have the money to work with a coach. I don't have the money to go see Dr. Liz. And that totally get it. So how can we get them to a point of feeling so confident in who they are and what they're doing that they can start increasing their income so that they can then work with someone like you to be able to reach the next level of greatness and be able to keep and continuously grow?
Okay, you asked 3 questions. I'm going to answer them in different orders. So, you said, how can they increase their income so they can come work with someone like me, right?
Absolutely.
Please don't. Please don't increase your income for the purpose of coming and working with someone like me. Please don't do that, right? Please increase your income because you feel deeply called to do the thing that you want to do and because you want to have a lifestyle that looks different than the one that you have right now, right? I work about 25 hours a week, give or take, right? I have a Zoom call tomorrow with a group of colleagues on Saturday morning, right? Last night, I had a client call at 8 o'clock because there was a crisis. No problem. When it comes down to it, though, the majority of my time goes into volunteer work with Narcotics Anonymous, parenting my 11-year-old, being present for my partner's daughter, and being a good partner, right? And cultivating a spiritual relationship, not just because I would like to have a great life, but because I would like to continue to remain in recovery from drugs and alcohol. Don't make more money to come work with a coach. Go work with a coach because you want to have a different on that. So on that note, that was point 1. Point 2, I said I had 3 points. I don't have the money to do this. So once upon a time in 2020, I had been praying. I knew I needed a mentor. I had many, many, many beautiful therapists I've worked with, great friends, but I knew I needed a coach because I knew I had kind of all the components. Like, I know how to build a funnel. I know right? Like I had taken all these different like trainings and whatnot. I'd flown to conferences. I really, really, really knew what I was doing in terms of actually coaching, like the product itself. Great. The mechanics of putting it all together, I felt like I was like seeing like my son's room when he was a toddler and just like throwing I was like, I know how to like there's all these pieces. And so I'd been praying about this for a while. And there was this group of female coaches that had kind of come together and said, like, we're just going to get together every night at 8 o'clock Eastern time because the world is in lockdown. Like, who the fuck knows what's going to happen, but we can support each other, right? And so I'd been praying and thinking, need this coach, right? Or this guy, this mentor, whatever. And this girl speaks up She said exactly the thing I'd been waiting to hear. She had the exact insight of why I was not moving forward. And I DM'd her on the Zoom and I said, can we get in a private room? I need to talk to you. Right. We were on the phone for about an hour, or on the Zoom for about an hour. I paid that girl $5,000 on the spot with the promise to pay her another $5,000 in 2 weeks. And here's what I did. I'm sobbing. I know that this is the person I'm supposed to work with. We just had this call and I was like, oh my God, like, send me some numbers. And she's like, I don't do proposals. I'm going to tell you right now what this looks like, which I do to this day. No one has ever gotten a proposal from me ever. Right. What she laid out exactly where I was stuck. She saw me and she got it. And I opened every single tab of every single bank account and every single credit card. And I got a red Sharpie because that was all that was in my kitchen, and a kitchen napkin. And I swear to God, this is true. And I added up all the available credit I had, and it was about $10,000. And I said, I'll send it to you right now. Let's go. Right. And I was like, this has to work. That was $10,000 for a 1 month. $10,000 for a 1 month intensive. I made that money back in 60 days. That moment of like, screw it. I am so clear. Like, I didn't sign with this girl because my life was bad. I had a beautiful apartment in Capitol Hill. My kitchen window looked into my son's kindergarten window. The Marine base was right there. So I didn't worry about school shootings. I was like, it's the motherfucking Marines, bitches. Motherfucking
That's right.
got me that. Right. I had an amazing life. I worked somewhere that I really loved with people I cared about. I did not hire a coach because I'm stuck. I didn't hire a coach because like, nothing's working. I hired a coach because I knew that I was supposed to be doing something bigger than I was. Right. Don't make more money to hire a coach. Hire a coach to change your life. That was point 2. By the way, I've made that money back like a lot times over.
That is such, pointed clarity, because I really do think that people are in that mentality of what I just said. I have to make more money so that I can hire a coach, so that they can tell me how to make more money, so that I can continue paying the coach, so that I can continue to make money. Like, I think they're in that
that's a real
circular, like,
I don't think that's crazy. I think there's a lot of messaging about that. 2, that's been my experience. I have, like, on the software that I use for transactions incoming, right? I can pull different dates. I can be like February to March, but March to March to March, right? I can pull that graph. I think it's called a line graph, I think, right? Whatever the like swoopy graph is. I can
line graph.
Line graph. Cool. I got it. My PhD is not in mathematics. So I can pull that graph and tell you exactly when I did not have a coach. Because when I have a $55,000 month, I'm working with a coach. When I have a $1,500 month, I am not working with a coach. There's absolutely a direct correlation. But I don't use my coaches as like Linus security blankies. Like,
yeah.
You know, like I don't work with people that are like, everything is wrong, and if you hire me, it'll be great. Like, I am looking for Michael Phelps's coach, right? That's the business coach I want. I'm already at the top of my game. How do I go further? Not everything is bad, which brings me to point 3. Yes, how can these women be successful? I think it's very, 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 very important, first and foremost, to recognize predatory marketing in this space, right? This spiritual space. There's a lot.
If I had a bell, I would be ringing it right now. Listen. That.
Yeah.
Was that a cowbell? Give me more cowbell.
No, but I do have a flower pot. Oh, it makes the same sound. Flower pot and lipstick. Who knew? So here's the thing. The spiritual marketplace draws a lot of women who are desperate. And what they do is they get a little bit of success under the belt, and then they start to market in a way that says, I used to have $4 million in debt, and now my son and I can go to pizza every single day. And I'm guilty of this early on in my career. And it attracts other women who are also desperate and broke. And then what happens is they internalize this narrative of, oh, I've got blocks. This is my shadow. This is coming from trauma and all this other stuff, right? And I have a PhD related to trauma, not mathematics. And it's predatory, right? It's looking at people who are desperate and who view themselves as fundamentally broken and saying, if you give me money, you will no longer be desperate and you will no longer be broken. So I think that's the first thing, is to really recognize predatory marketing for what it is, right? There is a difference between someone saying, I'm an Akashic Records reader and I help you connect to your past powerfully so you can create a future based on this lifetime's goals, not last lifetime's trauma. That is different than saying you are broken alone because you have past life trauma. And until you work with an Akashic Records healer and go into your past lives and understand these patterns that are deeply entrenched in your shadow, you're never going to have a good life. Like those are two different things, right?
Two totally different things.
But they are both present within this space, right? And
Absolutely.
I will say the kind of empowered side of things, if that was even 10% of the marketplace, I'd be shocked. So you asked, how can they come into their own and speak and open their chakra and what?
Yeah.
The first thing is you need to become connected to the fact that this arena is not the arena of white women coming from middle-class America, right? So if you are sitting here and being like, I'm just blocked and I don't know. Okay, well, start with learning where these concepts came from. Because I promise you, a lot of this marketing and coming into my own is actually just a form of cultural appropriation. So what we want to do, right? I'll let you have a moment. I'm just gonna.
I mean, seriously? Like I am a person who just does a deep dive into all cultures. I love all cultures. And then I'm like, this resonates with me. That resonates with me. I love you just seriously hit the nail on the head. I could never really put it into words. What bugged me about the majority of marketing in this sector. I could never pinpoint it. But my God, you just hit the nail on the head. The cultural appropriation, the lack of understanding, I'm going to put on a wide brim hat and flit around Arizona and call myself a healer. Like that bothers me. It really, really bothers me.
Yeah. And here's the thing, like, and I have
the performance aspect that really bothers me.
So here's what I want to like dig into this in a little bit and clarify. Like, first off, I have friends in this space and I used to consider myself part of this space. I have friends that identify as shamanic healers. I've done healing work, like paid them to do that. Mm-hmm. It's been transformative. I love it. Your question was, how do these women become confident speaking their truth? The first step is understanding that it's not their truth, right? These are spiritual principles that have been passed down from indigenous cultures in areas of the world that still do not have access to healthy running water, still don't have consistent food, still do not have safe shelter, not across the board, right? But if you want to learn how to speak your truth boldly and confidently, go read some books, girl, right? Like, where are these concepts coming from? And how in your marketing are you saying becoming a shamanic healer was the most transformative experience of my life, understanding my roots that led all the way back to, Sri Lanka, allowed me to understand that as I sit here powerfully, in America with this incredible life that I'm building, transforming lives, that I'm connected not just to my own voice, but the voices of women across millennia. And in that spirit, I offer this to you to come join this circle of sisterhood that have understood how to deconstruct all the different forms of oppression. This is not my work. This is our ascension.
Oh my God.
I'm good at marketing, by the way.
You're really fucking good. I mean, really fucking. That's that thread of authenticity.
Yeah.
That makes all the difference. It really does. It really does. I swear to God. Oh my God. My head is just like, I love it.
This is what I want to emphasize like a million times over. Like, there is nothing wrong in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, not the opinion of the world, right? In my opinion, there is nothing wrong with earning a living selling something that did not come from your culture. What I find frustrating, challenging, upsetting, disgusting sometimes is people making a living selling something that was not their culture without understanding the implications,
Yes.
right? They're like, nah, I'm going to stay in bed. Shit. Please, if you are doing that, you are not a bad person, but you are an ill-informed one. So please go Google, why is namaste a problematic word for white people to use, right? And I'm not, like my political beliefs are pretty firmly to the right, all of that. And I say that simply to say, these shouldn't be radical leftist or right-wing concepts to say,
Right.
if you are making money off of someone else's spiritual practices, please acknowledge where that's coming from, right? And please, if you're going to do it, I'm going to tell a snake oil story in just a second. If you're going to do it, by all means do it appropriately, do it with honor and deference to where you're coming from. Because if you're saying, I'm speaking my truth and I don't give a fuck and I've let go of all of my ties to the opinions of others because I validate myself. Okay, well, where are the spiritual principles that allowed you to find that strength coming from? Because they're not a priori, right? They're coming from somewhere and they're coming from someone. So here's the snake oil story. So once upon a time, on the railroads being built in the American West. This is way back in the day, right? The West is being settled. We could have a whole different discussion.
Oh, you're talking about the real snake oil.
I'm talking
like
about real snake
the first.
oil.
Yeah.
And so these Chinese workers that have been brought in to build the railroads are boiling, I forget the particular kind of snake, are boiling a very specific snake in water, and the oil that's rising to the top, they're skimming that oil and turning it into a cream because it works kind of like Bengay, right? It's got like this, whatever the toxin is that the snake person thing had, right? Whatever the snake had, it's got this like innate oil within its fat. And when you boil it, you're able to rub it on your sore muscles. And it turns out that building railroads is very, challenging, right? And so a bunch of white people, like Billy the Kid, or not him, who's the one that did snake oil like shows?
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I cannot remember the name. I know exactly. I can see the bottle. I can see the label. Yes.
Right. Yeah. So all these white people roll on up in and they're like, we're holistic healers. And they start boiling rattlesnakes and garter snakes and all kinds of snakes. Right. And they're selling it and passing it off as this thing that was actually real.
Right.
Right. And so when I see relatively affluent, almost always women in the Western world saying, well, I'm selling this thing and it's going to heal you, I'm like, well, the roots of this were actually effective, right? But when you come and you like kind of shill it, it just looks like snake oil, right? We created the term snake oil around something that actually worked. And the reason that it became something in the zeitgeist that didn't work was because white people came and said, we're going to sell it. And so when I'm proud of my skin color, I'm, like none of that. Like I've got a flag flying in my yard. My politics are grounded in believing that people should be honored for their contributions. And so if you are selling your services as a healer, as a chakra clearer, as a Akashic records reader, as a shadow worker, a light worker, blah, 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 any of that, please become educated and understand where these things are coming from so that as you are selling them and marketing them, you can do them in a way that honors the roots of it. That shouldn't be.
Oh, I love that.
That's how you
gain
true confidence. You gain true confidence by saying, I am doing a thing that people have done for 600,000 years. I don't even know if humans been around that long, right? However long it's been, right? Like for millennia, this thing has worked versus I'm going to share my spiritual truth. And that's how I made $400,000 last month.
Oh, I love that so much. I think that really does take people to a whole new level of appreciation for what it is that they do too. I mean, I'm just like a nerd who loves to deep dive into shit. I always have been. So when I even stumbled into this this world of holistic healing, I very much approached it as, well, I want to know what's happening. I like fundamentally, where did this come from? How did it start? What is the history? How is it working on the human body now? Like, I want to know the science behind it. I want to know the history of it. Like, that's just who I am. So I did not realize that that was in contrast to a lot of what I was seeing out in the world. The more my head is exploding right now.
Good, I did my job.
You did do your job. I swear to God. I think that this is so beneficial for so many people who are out there doing good work and meaning well.
Yeah, 100%.
But they're like, I don't understand why I'm not a success. I don't understand why people aren't lining up. I don't
Here's
understand why
why.
people.
These are the 10 most common reasons why it's not working. I keep them right in front of me because when someone's talking to me and they go, I don't know why, I'm able to be like, I think it's 4.
But it's true. It's true. And I mean, I've got so many names in front of me where I know that they have the same complaint. I don't know if complaint's the right word, but concern maybe, or hang up, or they think it's an obstacle and a hurdle or a challenge to, why is it that my business is not working? Why is it that, or maybe if I listen to yet another person, take another course, learn about funnels and SEO and like all of the things.
Can I make a quick plug on that?
Please.
If you have taken more than 2 courses and you are not where you want to be, please don't spend money on more courses. Please, please, please invest in a one-on-one mentor, because your learning style may be different than the teaching style of the person you're working with. And not for nothing, right? Like, I know my coach, I've had the same coach on and off for the past 5.5 years. My coach knows everything about me. So she's able to be like, this is why it's not working, right? Which I couldn't get with a group course teacher. And that's not to say I haven't taken courses. I have, and I do. I listen. I have a library of courses. I listen to one every time I have a car ride more than 30 minutes. Please do not spend money on courses if you are not getting good results. Invest in a one-on-one mentor, get up under the hood, figure out what your particular brand of story is, right? Because these blocks, bottlenecks, however you want to describe them, it just comes down to different stories. What is the story you're telling yourself that's taking you away from being the person you need to be in order to have the business you want? It's that simple. And until you share your story with someone trained, capable, talented, you're not going to have that direct feedback, right? You're going to be listening to a course and go, I wonder if it's that, right? Whereas if you're sitting with me in less than 20 minutes, I usually clock it at the 11-minute mark, I can tell you exactly why you're not moving forward, like exactly. And we can shift it, right? And we can shift it pretty fast. We work together for a month. We work together for 3 months. I have people that stay with me for years because it works well, right? Please don't spend your money doing something that's not working. Like, please, 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 please.
I thank you. Thank you for saying that. Seriously, thank you for saying that. What do you, well, and I would also maybe add to that be open, be curious. It's not a judgment on who you are as a person, right? If a coach tells you something that is a tough truth maybe to hear, it's not a judgment on you. It's not a judgment on you being, oh, you're a bad person. It's like that. I don't think that exists either.
I disagree with you. I think that exists a lot. Right.
Really?
Yeah. This is an unregulated industry filled with people who are trying to make money doing something that depends on working with people who are struggling. I think that there is a ton of people out there who don't know how to coach in a way that doesn't replicate their own judgy, insecure bullshit things. And that's not a knock on anybody doing this. I think, like, if I were to say to you, trying to think of something specific, If I were to say to you, the reason that you are still single is because fundamentally you think that you are unlovable and that no one wants you, and that you worry that you're going to have the exact same kind of experiences of when you were being bullied in high school that also replicate the way your dad constantly told you were fat, and you're going to stay single until you get over that and work through it. That's a deep, painful, hard thing to swallow, right? If I were to say, you've got a bunch of stories about why what you want is unavailable. You had all these different experiences up to this point that told you that you weren't worthy and deserving of love. And we just have to change those stories around. That's all we got to do, right? It's going to be okay. I'm just going to hold up a mirror and we're going to, bit by bit by bit, I'm going to reflect back to you the things that I'm seeing that I know are undermining you having getting married. That's all we're going to do is we're going to do taking in bite-sized pieces, bit by bit by bit, because the only thing that's happening here is you're just carrying a bunch of stories from earlier in your life and superimposing them on what's happening right now. That's it. I have just said the same things. One of those things was said in a way that shuts someone down, puts them on the defense, going to make them cry and call their mom and wonder if they've spent money in a way that was really smart. And didn't I told you not to spend $700 with this woman, right? The other just allowed someone to go, oh, all you're telling me is I have to change how I'm thinking about this.
Right. That's empowering.
Yeah. And here's the thing. There's a lot of people making money off of being disempowering. And I don't want to imply that that's on purpose at all. I'm not suggesting that there's malevolent action here. What I am saying is, intentional or not, if you leave someone more broken than you found them, and you've done it in a way where they create a codependent relationship with you, they're going to buy from you.
Yes. I mean, holy shit. Holy shit. Again, you just gave words to my innate, God, stop disempowering everybody. What is happening out here?
What's happening is it's profitable, right? And I want to be very clear. I do not think that means Susan is like, haha, let me undermine someone's confidence by.
Right. No, I don't think everything is like nefarious and evil. I don't think that that's the case at all.
I think that someone re-signing because they think, oh, this is, she's helped me identify all this shadow and where I'm blocked in my chakras, and I'm going to keep working with her. And little by little, my confidence continues to erode, but I'm going to give her more money because it's helpful, right? Like, right. I don't think that's intentional, but I do know that it happens a lot because I've seen a lot.
Agreed.
So yeah.
How is that different from speaking to pain points?
Speaking to pain points? I think that there's
how is that different?
Well, I think of speaking to pain points as something that happens in marketing. And I think about coaching is something that you kind of like step behind the curtain. And you're like, all right, now I'm going to show you what's really going on, right? This is what's really going on up under the hood that's making it difficult for you to move forward in your business, right? Or your love life or your health journey or whatever, right? Stuck is stuck. Doesn't matter where you're stuck. I think that pain points are really about, at their best, pain point marketing is about identifying how you feel, right? How your person feels, right? So like I'm showing you all the tricks. So I don't know if you can read my handwriting, right? But it says them.
I'm not.
It says them right up there. Them. Those are my people. Every 3 to 7 days, I want to say, I go through what are my people thinking and feeling? How are like what's going on for them when they wake up at 2 a.m, stressed about something? What is that something? How are they articulating that in their head? What's that thought process, right? Because I think of, oh, well, your marketing's off and everything about your marketing is stupid and bad and wrong. Not that I really think that, right? But that's not how they're thinking about it. They're thinking, why aren't people buying from me?
Yeah. What is wrong with me? What the hell?
Yes. I don't even think it's, well, that's where the shadow work. Like that's not like my ball of wax. Like when I'm dealing with someone, there's absolutely an element of self-worth and confidence and deservingness, but most of my people don't articulate their problem as why am I broken? And they don't,
Like,
because
what's wrong with me? But
yeah,
rather, is it like, what am I doing wrong?
it's that,
Why?
right?
Yeah.
Early in my career, this goes back kind of to the like, not taking advantage of like, but like the weak wildebeest marketing style,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
When someone's thinking, why am I broken? What's wrong with me? Why don't I deserve that? That's a person at a different mindset than I enjoy working at, because I don't like resuscitating people. I like
Yeah. Oh,
working with,
ooh. I love your language. Holy shit. Yes.
yeah, I can't, I cannot, I cannot have the level of energy that I want to have on a day-to-day basis if I'm working with people who think they're drowning, because I can't be a lifeguard all day.
Yeah.
Right.
Holy shit. Just give me a second to catch up to that. Oh my God.
And edit this part out. I have a hard stop in 5 minutes.
Okay.
Uh,
Listen, no, go ahead. Holy God. It's just, what a beautiful way to phrase it. Because I would say, I used to say, I don't want to carry people. I don't want to carry them over the finish line. But that, I don't want to resuscitate them.
I don't want to
That's
resuscitate
beautiful
people.
phrasing.
But here's the tie-in with marketing. Most, especially women, because a lot of us have some codependency flavor, right? Most women who are in business believe that they have to work with the people that are like, bring me your huddled masses, because because they're not that much. They're like, well, my life's not perfect, but I'm not where Sheila is, right? And what this does is it creates a space where you, the practitioner, constantly are in a state of like nervous system heightenedness.
Yeah.
Because you're worried that's like literally like, oh my God, I have to save her. And you get all invested in ways that are not healthy for you or her. Right.
That codependency. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, like, I don't think any of this is malevolent. I think the value of working with a coach like me, who has really advanced training, is that you're able to look at this stuff and address it in a way that's healthy, so that you kind of set the bone and it heals for good, versus constantly just like, well, it's this, it's my shadow, it's my
Yeah.
right. And like, you're on this
Chasing symptoms.
yeah,
Like, don't
you're
chase
on this like
symptoms.
never
Yeah.
ending quest to feel whole, versus addressing the root causes, dealing with them, and moving on, so you can like have the next phase of your evolution, whatever that happens to be.
Oh my God. Listen, the way you communicate is so crystal clear, with a different vocabulary than I have heard in the past. I so greatly appreciate you, your wisdom, your time, your expertise. Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you
You're
so
so
very much.
welcome.
I will put it in the show notes, but where can people find you?
Best
How
place
can they
to
work with
find
you?
me is just Dr. Liz Dubois, DrLizDubois.com. You can book a consult there. It just says book a consult. That's free. Jump onto my calendar and we'll talk. The other places to find me are on LinkedIn and on Facebook. Both of those are just facebook.com/biz, B-I-Z, Dr. D-R, Liz, Biz Dr. Liz, and same on LinkedIn. It's just LinkedIn,
Very
Biz
clever.
Dr. Liz.
Biz Dr. Liz.
Biz.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing so much with us. I
welcome.
greatly appreciate you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. And I'll just say, I started my career in coaching, in trauma, and then it migrated into this neighborhood that we've been discussing. And just, if this is where you're at, like, really let yourself enjoy it. Don't constantly be questioning yourself. Just like roll with it. It's fun. And know where it's coming from, right? Don't have a whole identity crisis about, how do I find my voice? Connect yourself to where this is coming from, find your part in it, and then spread the word.
Oh my God. Those are beautiful parting words. I was going to ask you, do you have any parting words? Those are beautiful parting words.
Those are them. I will say I have 3 spaces open for fall coaching. This is an intensive one-on-one experience. If you've taken a gazillion courses and you're like, I don't know what's wrong, I will tell you very quickly and we'll fix it. I will also be streaming on September 30th at 9, a class called Brand Obsessed Buyers from the Hyatt here in beautiful Maryland. And I will be constantly on Facebook and LinkedIn all the time. So come find me.
Oh my God. That's fantastic. Wonderful. If somebody does, you have 3 spots for one-on-one intensive. How long does that last? What does that look like?
It's generally 3 months. A lot of people kick into 6 months at that point. So if we're working together, we're a month in and you're like, holy fuck, this is what I've been looking for my whole life. We'll have a conversation and we'll extend to 6 months. And then, like I said, I have people that have been with me 3.5 years, not because they're stuck, but because their business explodes.
Yeah, and they want to keep on going.
Well, let's keep doing that. So yeah, so come on down. If you have found that you are getting spotty sales, spotty leads, the people you're working with are really draining, you are my person. That is exactly what I help people address. And I look forward to hearing from you.
Oh, fantastic. All right, everybody. This was our time with Dr. Liz. Read the show notes, and you will have all the links to be able to follow her and get in touch with her to work with her. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.
Bye.
Before you go, Find Your Flow is now on YouTube. Subscribe to Find Your Flow with Lisa Roche and set your notifications to catch every episode as they are released. Joining this beautiful Find Your Flow community allows your energy to be included in every healing meditation. So subscribe and follow. And if you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to share it with anyone else you think would enjoy it as well.